Who do you perceive yourself to be? We're going to talk about contentment today. We're going to talk about happiness today, good health. You know, life is short. And I think we spend too much time not being happy. Politics, I guess, in our nation today has kind of moved us all in a particular direction that kind of can keep us angry, often. People are just ticking us off, making us mad, and shaking our heads, and all this stuff, on whatever side of the political spectrum we fall on. But what I want to share with you today is, yes, again, life is short, and so we want to use our time wisely, and use our negative emotions sparingly, and try to be positive most of the time. I think that's the key to our wellness, to our good health, to our peace of mind, to our good fortune and our successes in life, is the attitude that we have. We need to have a positive attitude. And so I guess I want to start off with, who do you perceive yourself to be? It's very important. Let me tell you a little funny story, but it's very powerful, I think, for me. My daughter is going to be a senior in college this term. And when she was in the second grade, that's how I can base this, time this, I had an abdominal injury, and I incorporated this martial art cardio into my life. And it consists of like 1,000 punches and 900 kicks in about 40 minutes. And initially I had to kind of chill out with some of the kicks, okay? But I felt that like 95% of my body was fine, just 5% was messed up. So if I just exercised the parts of my body that was fine, the strength would encroach upon that weakness and heal myself. Now, that was my theory. Turned out it worked. I don't know if it worked or if I just was going to be well anyway. But the bottom line is I maintained that workout all of these years. It's been almost 15 years now. And this is what I want to share with you, is that this is not like that Billy Blanks video where everybody's just together and just working out together and having a fun time. This is more like you're in a karate club, martial art club, and you got 5 people in front of you, and so you're facing them. It's almost like you're teaching the class, which I have done back in my younger years. And so you're just working out together. But the interesting part is these 5 people that I'm working out with, at the time when they made this video, they were probably between like 30 and 35 years old. About 3 men, 2 women, or maybe 3 men, 3 women, something like that. But the point is that 15 years later, they're probably a lot older looking right now. Maybe some of them have lost hair, some of them have gray hair. They just don't look the same as they looked when they created that video, probably 16 or so years ago. But the thing is, these people that I'm looking at, that I've been looking at for the past 15 years, they haven't aged, okay? It's the same video. That's why I put it on a flash drive, so the DVD, I knew the DVD would wear out. But anyway, so every day when I come down to work out with these guys for the past 15 years, I am walking into an environment that is familiar to me with these young faces. So in a psychological sense, I am that same person I have been all this time working out with these young people. I transform. And so I keep up the same speed, I hear the same words from them, the same encouragement, the same faces. So my perception of myself, although now I'm 68 and I was 53 when I started, it's like, no, and I was a young 53 at the time. So I'm still that person, because from a psychological perspective, every time I look at them, I see these same young faces that I've been working out with for all these years, and it almost transforms me into that same place. So this is what I perceive myself to be. Sometimes I look at myself after I make these videos, and especially the workout videos or even these videos, and I'm like, gosh, you don't look like you're 68 years old. Now I understand I'm 68 years old, and I embrace that. I think it's kind of cool, 68 years old, especially when I look at my kids, My son's 37, my daughter's 21. I must be 68 years old. I have to age along with them, right? But it's like I don't feel it. I don't feel my age. And so I never try to get folks, or even myself, try to, well, 68 is the new 48. I'm not one of those kind of people. No, 68 is 68. I appreciate having graduated from high school in 1976. I appreciate going to boot camp in September of 1976. I appreciate my military service. I appreciate working for the B&O Railroad for a year in 1980. I appreciate going to work for NCR Corporation in 81 for 13 years. I appreciate being with the Postal Service for the past 32 plus years. So I'm not trying to be young. I want to redefine to folks, and this is what I present to you and for myself, redefine what 68 is. Not try to, and I don't even mean redefine it in the sense that I have to pick a particular attribute. I'm just saying, don't buy into old acting, because I don't feel I'm old. I feel I'm older. Okay? Does a 7-year-old feel they're old compared to a 2-year-old? No, they're just older. Does a 20-year-old feel they're old to a 10-year-old? Maybe. No, they shouldn't. They're just older. And so as you go through life, don't take on the attribute of old. Just recognize you are older. Enjoy it. Enjoy the experiences that you've had. Enjoy the insight and the wisdom that you've garnered over the years, and try to share that, which is what I try to do, basically. And just enjoy who you are. Don't get caught up in the negativities of life. Those are the things that age you. Those are the things. Have you ever seen older people? There we go. Older people. Older people with frowns on their faces, ingrained frowns on their faces, brows all jacked up, just look, negative. Or people that just age terribly. That's a negativity, I believe. I believe that a lot of times when we buy into situations and things that we shouldn't, or if we have unresolved issues, our I want to say subconscious, but our sub-body, our sub-self is in conflict. And oftentimes we age. We know doctors will tell you sometimes, if the part of the healing process, if you've had surgery, you've had a sickness that you're recovering from, your mindset, your attitude has a lot to do with your recovery. And so I want to say that that's just not a physical. It's a physical recovery. But if it's your attitude, it's got to be a mind thing. It's got to be how you're viewing your situation. So your recovery, your physical recovery then, is based on your mental attitude. And so a lot of times then, even if we don't recognize we're sick, just simply in life, if we have unresolved issues. I heard this is a joke, I heard a country, and he's a friend of mine, a white country preacher. I was at his church one Sunday, and and I think my family was the only black family in there, and they were like country folks, And he was like, you know why white people age so much more than black people? And everybody's waiting for some spiritual insight, because of the Holy Spirit, something like that, right? He says, because of unresolved guilt. He was cracking up. I was cracking up. But the rest of the audience, nobody was laughing. But really there is something to that, Not necessarily a racial thing, but in whatever aspect of life. And that's why it's very important, to be parents that raise kids in happy households, so those kids grow up without issues like that. Man, you know what and I'm just now thinking of this. One of the things I love to see, I've always loved to see happy babies, and happy kids, but especially like babies, and kids that are just happy. I love that. And we sometimes, we should be able to take notes from them, And I don't know, I've flown a lot. I've from the time I was a toddler, to Europe and all over the place. And then I joined the military. And then now, recently, ever since my daughter was like 5, we've been overseas like every year of her life somewhere. And we're looking at Turkey this year. That'll be interesting. But when I'm on an airplane, and you're on an airplane and you hear babies cry, and some people get irritated, I don't, man. when I hear a baby cry or making noise, the crying is just part of life. Come on, we cry all the time as adults, just not in the same way. But a baby is just releasing, and it's like music to my ears when I hear a baby on a plane or even in church. It's just now just the playing out loud, with the parents, helping the child along make that noise. I don't think that's a good thing in church, but ordinarily and on an airplane or whatever, when I hear babies, man, it's like music, man. It's up to us to adjust our reaction to the things that we hear, to the things that we respond to. If we only look at it, rationally and reasonably, come on, you're on an airplane, people are talking, the baby's crying. What's the difference? It's us. It's not the baby, it's us. It's our response, it's how we choose to respond. And that's what I'm telling you, it's our choice. We need to be happy. And this is part of like the age thing, but it's not just about the age thing, it's about every aspect in life, our contentment. How do we perceive ourselves? How do others perceive us? There's a religious proverb that says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And you know what? It's not really religious. It's a human thing. Whatever you perceive yourself to be, that's what you are. And so what I'm sharing with you today, and what I've been sharing, in pretty much every message one way or another, is that you have a choice in who you are, in who you perceive yourself to be, okay? And don't just go with the flow. See, that's the issue with the politics, with the 24/7 news cycle, with social media and all this stuff. Folks buy into the negativities, and they embrace that. Who do you perceive yourself to be? Who do you surround yourself by? What kind of conversation? Is it critical? Is it negative? Come on, look at the politics. Look at whatever side of politics you are. And I judge the politics the same way I judge the religions. And the same way I judge our associates, whoever you associate with, your friend circle and all. Now, are people happy? Or are they mad? Are they upset? Are they sad? What's the situation, man? I choose to be happy. I think I'm content probably 97% of the time, most of the time. And I think that the most of my discontentment is when I watch people in their lives and they fail or they're not happy. And it's not the failure that bothers me so much, because we all fail. Fail is like the catalyst to propel yourself to the next level. But what I think what disappoints me is when I see people who acquiesce to, oh, well, this is just the lot of my life. This is just the way my life is. And they live substandard lives, some standard contentment, relationshipless, just not happy, out of shape, not in good health, not in good condition. And the reality, the answer is the wellness is within their reach, But they haven't in so long, they don't believe they can, and they just, oh well, just settle for this is the way life is. And I'm serious, man. Life is too short for that. You can make the most of this life, make the fullness of this life, whatever the situation is, man. Don't do that. Don't settle for less. Whatever you perceive yourself to be. And so what is perceiving you to be what you are or who you are? It's really your subconscious. It's not your conscious thought. Because your conscious thought is in survival mode, as according to Maslow, and I kind of agree with him. Survival is like the most basic need, the basic requirement for a human being. But based on our self-perception, how we perceive ourselves, that determines on how we define survival. Okay. Now survival for here we go. I don't want to digress, but survival for one thing. How to have a positive attitude? Well, don't stop. Don't stop improving yourself. I was talking to a young man. He was in his 20 years old or so about a thesis, an antithesis. Did he know what an antithesis was? Which is a challenge to your thesis, a challenge to what you believe. And of course he said yes, and I said, well, this is how we come into the world, floating around within the darkness in the nice, comfortable, liquid place, not even cognizant of what darkness or liquid is, but just existing. And all of a sudden you're thrust into light and smacked by an entity, which is a doctor, right? And at that point your thesis, your reality is challenged, and okay, this is the environment. And then you grow. You're growing up, and your household is a little bitty infant, and this is the environment. I'm the center of the world. My needs are met. When I don't feel comfortable, I cry, and my needs are met, or I'm fed, or I'm changed, or whatever. That's the reality. I'm the center. Then you go to kindergarten and recognize you're no longer the center. You have a challenge to that thesis, and this is how we grow all throughout life. But we find a way somehow to determine that we're going to stop, and this is where we're going to be. And this is what I'm suggesting, is this is where we acquiesce. This is where we are, even in certain stages of life where we stop trying. We don't recognize that we can improve. Oh no, this is just the way that it is. Imagine if you were in the 6th grade and you had all this knowledge, that you got from your 6th grade teacher. You decided, well, I have all the knowledge I need. Nothing's going to improve. This is it, for the rest of my life. And now you're 47 with a 6th grade attitude. It doesn't work that way, man. Always improve. And part of that improvement is recognizing how to affect change in your environment. Don't stop. Always read, always study. Yesterday I was listening to on an audiobook The Art of War by Sun Tzu, which I've been studying Sun Tzu probably since I was about 16 or 17 years old. And I've either read or listened to The Art of War, I'm sure, over 100 times. And I studied like Lao Tzu, the Tao Te Ching, and of course I studied the Bible, and I study philosophy and history and science. I love quantum physics and all this stuff. There is no limit. I'm studying Arabic, the Arabic language. A little bit. I know a little bit of Arabic. But always expanding, never satisfied for simply being, at this level and, oh, well, this is what life is. No. So this is, I think, what keeps you from getting old, not older. We're all getting older, hopefully. When you stop getting older, you're gone. And really, that's not the worst thing in the world either. But the reality is, don't settle for, a less than life than you could. But again, it's all about self-perception. You will be what you perceive yourself to be. So choose, what do you want to be? And then just begin to craft your environment around you to reflect that which you wish to be. And that is what you will be. As you begin to perceive yourself as that, that's what you'll be. So I perceive myself as a martial artist, even though I haven't fought anybody probably in 30 years. Because I still do the martial art moves. I don't know if I should tell on myself, but the reality is, I am going to be 68 years old this year, and so my punches and kicks are not pristine like they may have been when I was younger, but it doesn't matter, because while I'm watching these guys, while I'm working out with these guys, I'm not seeing my sidekick might be a foot lower than it was, years ago. I'm not seeing any of that, man. I am just perceiving myself as these guys I'm working out with, and I'm still getting the same cardio. I'm still sweating. I'm still exhausted. So I've created the environment around me that facilitates me not getting old while I'm getting older, okay? And then eat healthy. Don't get lethargic. Now, I want to say something here that many people are not going to agree with, but folks have been bugging me for a long time. When are you going to retire? I've been 32 and a half years at the Postal Service. After I left corporate America, 5 months later, I became a mailman. And it's like, I'll be 68 this year. It's like, well, what am I going to do? And I noticed that, when I'm off, like when I'm on vacation for a week or something, or a holiday weekend comes up or whatever, shoot, man, my body starts stiffening up, I see that that's a negativity about retirement. Retirement to me is like the next step to death. Some folks say, well, what if you die before you get a chance to retire? How terrible that would be. Why would that be terrible? I'm like, I'm working. I'm interacting with people at work. I'm interacting with customers. I'm healthy. I'm making top dollar. My whole life is positive. I get to talk to you guys. I write books. By the way, I've written one on marriage, how to have a happy marriage if it's kind of jacked up, or if you want to get married again, or if you're dating, or if you're thinking about dating, or thinking about getting married. This is the book for you. But anyway, back to, it's all up to you. It's all up to your attitude. And again, life is so short. You want to be happy and you want to be healthy. And I do believe that they're tied into each other. I mean, make a ritual out of some of the things that you need to do, and make a ritual that you want to do every day. I prepare my healthy foods every day, okay? Especially every working day. I might slack a little bit on the days that I'm not at work. But every working day I have a ritual of food preparation, healthy foods that I will be consuming from the time I get up in the morning all the way until the time I get off of work. And so it's a ritual. And I'll tell you, even in that ritual, there's my coffee. I start off the day with 2 mugs of coffee. And it's just not the coffee. I have the beans, and I grind the beans. I've been doing this for about 15 or so years, maybe 12 years. I don't even know how many years, really. But grounding the beans. And it's just part of my process. It's part of my meditative process. The whole thing is meditative. Find some way to find enjoyment in the things that are making you better, making your attitude better, creating a different kind of you. So you're creating the environment. So as you think in your heart, so are you. You're that positive person. You're that person that people want to aspire to be like. Now let me give you a caveat. And this is what I've experienced. Is that you are like a mirror to the people around you. And most people do not have this positive attitude that I'm sharing with you right now. Most people are kind of stuck. That's why I spend my life trying to unstuck people. Okay, that's what the books are for. That's what these videos are for. That's why I've been on cable for 21 years. That's what all that's about. I'm just trying to help people. See, what I give you right now, and what I'm giving folks, is not theory. This is real lived experience. Many people, whether they're motivational speakers, whether they're politicians, whether they're preachers, they're giving you theory. I'm not giving you theory. I'm giving you what I know works. I mean, I'm a guy that used to party every day, all day, with the weed, with the alcohol, the clubs every night of the week, man. That kind of crazy, destructive lifestyle. One day, I just decided that wasn't me anymore, and I just stopped, okay? And cleaned it up, totally. Shoot, at 50 years old, I decided to go to school. Tired of just a high school diploma, I wanted to get an associate degree from a local Sinclair Community College, so I enrolled. Age 50 to 60, I earned my associate degree. I didn't stop. I earned my bachelor's degree. I earned my MBA. So I can do it from 50 to 60. You definitely can do it from 30 to 40. So I'm suggesting to you right now, everything that I share with you, including my workout, and my healthy living, is not theory. It really works. And so that's why I'm in the condition I'm in. Man, where I work. I mean, I'm the oldest where I work. But shoot, man, a lot of those folks, those younger folks, are in worse shape than I am. Why? Because this is what I perceive myself to be. I tell my daughter sometimes, and my wife, and it's kind of like a family thing. They roll their eyes at me. I say, look at me. I said, this doesn't just happen. And it is a family joke. But it's not really a joke at all. Whatever you want, whatever you desire, whatever you wish to perceive yourself to be, you can. Just set your environment around you, you'll buy into it, and then do the things that bring it to fruition. And that's who you'll be. And you'll be happy. So as I want to close, I want to ask you then, it's not even, especially as parents, what you perceive yourself to be. What do your children perceive you to be? Either your children are going to become like you, and that's not a good thing if you haven't gotten it together, or they're going to want to avoid you. And you certainly don't want that, man. And I remember talking to this lady, and I'll close with this. She came to me, and she was a new employee at the post office. And she was a clerk. We were just having a conversation, and she started talking about, she was probably about 40 years old, maybe 45 years old, about how she had no relationship with her mother. And she said her mother was just like really negative and overbearing when she was a kid, and she just came to the point where she didn't want anything to do with her. And it really hurt her. She wasn't admitting it, but I could tell when she was talking to me, it really hurt her. So what are your kids perceiving you to be? It's very important, the effect that we have on our children. Because we're responsible for creating the environments around them that they're going to grow up in that's going to affect them. And a lot of times our negativities, our negative self-image, our self-perception, how we perceive a person my age should be by the way my father or my grandfather acted when they were their age, and now that's... See, I am a recipient of the environment that I grew up in. But you have to determine, is this conducive to what I want in my short life, or am I going to have to adjust it?